We'll start the class. Namo Arihantanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Ayariyanam, Namo Uvajjayanam, Namo Loe Savasahunam, Mangalam Bhagwan Viro, Mangalam Gautamo Gani, Mangalam Kunda Kundaryo, Jaina Dharmostu Mangalam, Sarva Mangal Mangalyam, Sarva Kalyan Karakam, Pradhanam Sarva Dharmanam, Jainam Jayatu Shasanam. तीन भुवन में सार वीतराग विज्ञानता शिव स्वरूप शिव का नमः त्रियोग संहारिके जय जिनेन्द्र. So in yesterday's class, we were in the fourth Dhala where the significance of Samyak Gyan, the right knowledge, is being highlighted. Towards the end of it, we were seeing the partial conduct or the Desh Vrat of a Shravak and the 12 vows. We have already covered this topic in Vidrag Vigyan. So we were just seeing it in brief. We have covered already the 5 Anuvrat. In 3 Gun Vrat, we have done the Vrat, Desh Vrat, and we were discussing Anartha Dand Tyag Vrat. Anartha Dand Vrat was a useless path. There was no purpose, but without any reason, we are doing quite a lot of sinful activities, which the Shravak or the Vrati Shravak surely avoids in his life. So we first did the Apadhyan or thinking about sins, about something else, about somebody else's failure or somebody else's wishing ill for someone else. The second one was Papopdesh or giving Updesh or sermon or advice about agriculture and other activities that entail a lot of violence. Now, we will see the other 3 kinds of Anarthadand Pap in this next. I'll just share my screen. Yeah. So in the stanza 13, we are continuing with the Anartha Danda Tyag. We already saw Apadhyan and Papopdesh. We are going to see the other 3 in this stanza. So the next is Pramadacharya or negligence in, in general negligence like unnecessary hurting of one sensed living beings or the sthavar jeev. So Kari Pramad, with negligence, one hurts Jal or the water body by wasting a lot of water, Bhumi by digging the ground. So you are hurting the earth bodied living beings. You are destroying the Vraksh and Pavak. Vraksh is all the Vanaspati Kai or all the trees, plants, plucking flowers, just plucking leaves for fun, all those things. Pavak means lighting fire without any reason, like you blow candles on the birthday cake, all those things certainly can be avoided. So, kar pramad jal bhumi vraksh pavak na viradhe, asi dhanu hal hinsop karan nahi de jas lade. Now, in the next one, they do not donate any tools that result in violence or any weapons. They don't give others bow and arrow or the plow or any the swords or any of these weapons are not given. Like, very casually we give guns and other these toys to the kids, but we are also doing anumodna of hinsa. We are responsible for, inciting them, instilling the values of hurting and killing other people by allowing them to play with swords and guns and playing those games like PUBG where they are killing birds and animals and other humans. So all these pap are actually anarthadand. We can 100% avoid them, and we must really be mindful about what kind of games we are letting our children play. Okay. Then Rag Dvesh Kartar Katha. So Dushruti Anarthadand, which means that you are listening to stories or reading literature, watching videos that are unnecessarily giving rise to more passions. like romantic stories or horror movies, or all the erotic kind of literature. All of these things should be avoided because they just give rise to more passions and lead to purposeless path or the sinful activities. And more or less, all of these activities take us away from our, primary goal of self-realization or swadhyay or sayam. So all these things are creating a hurdle, a disturbance in that. That is why we have to avoid. The last line, और हु अनरथ दंड हेत अघ तीने ना कीजे. So these are just 5 major types that they have listed over here. But if we carefully introspect our day-to-day activities, we will find there are plenty of such things that can be avoided. These small sins, only after careful awareness and alertness, we can pinpoint and then we should avoid. So, or who, the other kinds of these purposeless sins, agh means paap, which cause a lot of paap. We must avoid them. Tinhe na kije. So the Gyani Shravak is very aware, very alert in his conduct. He does not do any of these things that are not required. Most of the times he spends in introspection and darshan, swadhyay, shat avashyak, all those things. So these kind of paap are naturally avoided with sahajta in his life. But as Shravaks of Jainism, as seekers of truth, we can also try to implement most of these in our lives. Okay. And yesterday there was some discussion about what should we do. So basic first thing if you want to do is like Shravak ke 8 मूल गुण, or the 8 attributes of a normal Shravak like you and me, not Vrati Shravak, are Tyag of 5 Udambar Phal. So the fruits that directly grow on the stems of the trees like Anjeer or fig, they have infinite thrust jeev in them. And there are other also, but most of them we don't consume. But Anjeer is commonly consumed. It comes in sweets, milkshakes, ice creams. We should certainly avoid because there is infinite thrust ghat in eating that. Then there was, so that is 5 Udambar Phal and 3 Makar. Madhya, Mas and Madhu. Madhya means what? Alcohol. Mas is meat and Madhu is honey. So this basic tyag, every single Shravak must do. Like this is all tras hinsa. Okay, you are harming more than one sense living beings over there. So all these things for sure should be avoided. This is the basic patrata for understanding Jainism. Yeah, Jinali ji.
I wanted to ask one thing. I understand this adrak. Okay, in the dry form it is allowed, but
Yeah.
But then even you have dry form of onions, we have dry form of lasun. When this is the question asked by my son.
Yeah. No, I
answer.
understand. No, the answer is that even in the dried form, the Nigodia jeev in onion and potato and all those things are still there. But in adrak or in haldi, turmeric, the dried form, the Nigodia jeev have gone. That is why we can consume them.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we also eat peanuts because in that also there is not an infinite Nigodia jeev. Okay. We only don't eat those root vegetables that have so many infinite nigodya. Okay. So I'm not even saying that in the first level, 3 makar and 5 udambar phals. Yes, Priyanka ji.
Sorry, Jai Shinendra Vijay. Can you repeat that peanut thing again? We eat it or we don't eat it?
I guess the dried peanut is allowed. Is it not?
I eat it.
Yeah.
Even green one is also not. It's a nut, no, ma'am. Green vegetable. That hari, of course. Hari peanut also.
Hari peanut is green vegetable that I'm not aware. Drumstick आप बोल रहे हो? So that is so allowed only.
No, drumstick you are telling or peanut? What they're asking?
Singdana, peanut. It also grows underground.
Peanut, no, peanut.
Right? Yeah. No. Yeah. Okay, Jinali ji, yes. Again, you're raising hand.
But then it has a covering, so the peanut.
Sorry? Yeah.
Peanut has a covering.
So,
So that's the reason it is allowed, I mean, in any form.
नहीं,
Peanut
ऐसा
comes
नहीं.
under nuts. Nuts. It is not coming under root vegetable.
It's not the root.
It is a nuts, spices and nuts. That nuts, it comes groundnut.
So I will tell you, potato,
Cashew.
onion and all, if we are going to pick the plant, we are harming the entire plant. That is one reason. Another reason is it is tamasic in nature or causes a lot of, vibhav in the parinati. The third reason is every speck of these underground vegetables has so many infinite, like in short, if I'll explain, the Siddh Rashi or the number of souls that have attained moksha since infinite past till now. So that number is Siddh Rashi. Usse infinite times more jeev are present in one little speck of potato. So if you will count the whole potato or the whole onion, there are so many, like that infinite has no number. Okay. So one must really think about it. Next time when you feel like eating, you can just think once, is it worth it? Okay. So that question, I am leaving it to you. I'm not preaching anything over here, but one can certainly have a thought about it. Yes, Priyanka ji.
Sorry, Vijay ji, there was one question a long time ago. Someone had asked why we can't eat spring onion leaves.
I don't exactly know why we can't eat that, but yeah, we don't eat it. That is for sure. I will let you know. I will confirm and I'll let you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So let us read. Subhaji, please read.
Yes, Ji. One should prevent careless wasting of water, digging of land, cutting of trees, and lighting fire. This is known as the careless dealings of the purposeless violence limitations vow. Pramacharya Anartha Danda Vrata. In this vow, one prevents a careless violence towards a one-sense living beings. One should refrain from giving weapons which cause harm, such as swords, arrows, etc. This is known as the gift of weapons, of offense, of purposeless violence limitation vow. Insadana Anartha Danda Vrata. One should refrain from useless gossip, vikata, reading novels and literature, promoting erotic feelings as they produce an infatuated state. This is known as evil hearing of purposeless violence limitations work. Du Shruti Anartha Danda Vrata. There are also other types of purposeless violence acts which produce sins. One should refrain from committing such activities.
So this completes the Anartha Dantya. So earlier 5 Anuvrat, which were the form of partial renunciation of the 5 sins. Then we saw 3 Gunvrat, the merit vows, and now we will. Yeah, tell me.
Excuse me, Ji. Someone is asking for spring onions. If we cut the spring onions, the plant will die. If we cut the spring onions leaf, the plant will die. That's the reason we never eat it.
Okay. So thank you.
Thank you, Subhaji.
Yeah. So now we will see the last 4, which are Shiksha Vrat or the trainee's vow. The Shravak, the Gyani Shravak, enlightened householder, has a deep inclination to renounce his family life and accept asceticism or take Muni Diksha. However, due to the Pratyakhyana Varan Kashai or the third level of passions which are still there, he is not able to do so. But he continuously practices or tries to attain that ascetic stage. Now, as a training for Muni Diksha, he performs these 4 kinds of Shiksha Vrat or the trainees vows. So the first is Samaik, second is Proshodokvas, third is Bhog Bhog Pariman Vrat, and the fourth one is Atithi Samvibhag Vrat. We have done all of these. So the first was Samaik, or maintaining a state of Samta Bhav, equanimity, for a minimum of 48 minutes. Samaik can be done minimum once to up to thrice a day. The Samaik can be either 48 minutes or 2 Samaik or 3 Samaik at once, depending upon your own Shakti, your own power. So Dhari Ur Samta Bhav, getting, with equanimity in my disposition, with having a equal feeling, no rag, no dvesh, no attachment, aversions, no like and dislike. I consciously avoid these thoughts towards all the external substances and try to completely focus with concentration on the realization of the soul. That is real Samaik. And, not just sitting at one place is not Samaik. Having that self-realization is Nishchay Samaik. And along with it, the disposition of doing Samaik is Vyavhar Samaik. Okay. So Dhar Ur Samta Bhav, have that equanimous state and have that, Rag Dvesh, the state without any Rag Dvesh. Sada Samaik Kariye. So they do this Samaik minimum once to up to thrice a day. Parva Chatushthay Mahi. So Parva means the 4 eternal festivals every month. Do you know which are they? What are the 4 festivals which come every month? Have you guys done it?
Ashtami Do Chaturdashi.
Yes, 2 Ashtami
Yes.
and 2 Chaturdashi. These are the eternal festivals. They are not the periodical festivals. So these 2 festivals come every month. So Chatushtay means 4. So the festivals for Mahi every month, they come. So on those days, what do Pap Taj Praushad Dhariye? So they renounce all the sinful activities of the family, business, everything. They live in a secluded place and spend the entire day fasting and performing religious activities like pujan, swadhyay, and samaik, introspection, all of those things. So this thing happens minimum 4 times in a day. So the prashad is also of 3 kinds: uttam, madhyam, jaganya. You can fast from the previous day and end it at the next day, or from the previous day evening, end it at the next day morning, or just fast for the 124 hours, depending upon your own, power and potential. These kinds of fasts are performed every month. And again, you can see that this is like a practice. They want to renounce all the household responsibilities. So they practice for it at least 4 times in a month. That I'll stop my business, I'll stop with the interaction with my family members, and I will live in a secluded place trying to focus on the soul. It cannot be done jabarjasti. There is a lot of kashai, but still I want to do it. So that forceful kind of a thing does not work. So this practice they do, and when they see that, okay, now they are able to attain that state and they are able to maintain the equanimity for longer periods, then only they, ascend on the 11 pratimas, and after that elak shulak, they are confident enough, then they leave everything and become muni. So this is a progression. It just doesn't happen just like that. Ek jhatke mein. Okay. The third one was Bhog Upabhog Pariman Vrat. So Bhog is something which you consume only once, like things we eat or drink. They are known as Bhog. Upabhog is something which you are using repeatedly, like your clothes, utensils, the house, the car. We are using it repeatedly. So this Bhog and Upbhog, Niyam Kari Mamat Nivare. They put a limitation on these items as well. So niyam means they take a vow that I will use, say, only 5 things of food in the entire day, 5 items, or I will use only so many clothes in the year. So they are setting a limit, setting the boundary for everything. Okay, niyam kari mamat nivare. Now you will say parigraha parimana vrat was also similar, but that was lifelong. Okay, now this thing, they can also have a periodical vow that for 1 month or for the entire Chaturmas, I will have only, these many vegetables. And then that, they can remove the badha. So these are periodic things, bhogupok pariman vrat. They can take depending upon, their internal bhav. Now, if they see that, okay, I've taken this for a short period of time, I'm able to sustain it, then they take it for a longer period. So this kind of practice goes on. And the entire aim of this is ki rag dvesh ko ghatao. I want to reduce my attachments towards all the external things. But at once, if you do, it might cause a lot of anguish and sanklesh. So stepwise, assessing their own internal ability, they are trying to reduce all the attachments. Mamat nivare means we are reducing the attachments towards this bhog and upbhog items. The last one, Muni ko bhojan de, fir nij kar hi ahare. So the Shravak has this bhavna that before eating my own food, I will wait at my doorstep so that a Nirgranth Muniraj may pass by, and only after offering food, only after doing ahar dan, I will, eat. So this kind of bhavna Shravak always has, and in earlier in some stories you will see that when that 10:45, 11:15 time is the time that Muniraj always come for ahar, because Munis come only once in a day. That is a particular time when they come out. So the Shravaks, along with their families, wait outside in their, what do you call that, veranda or the patio. They wait outside their house and they do Nauda Bhakti. They call them. And only after offering the food that Muni has got ahar, then only I will consume my food. And the food is not prepared for Muniraj. It is not Uddisht ahar. From their own thing, they will donate. And on that day, the Shravaks will do unodri tap or avmodarya. Like they will eat less than what they eat normally. So this is win-win for both the situations. Muniraj has got a nirdosh ahar without any flaws, and the Shravak is also doing avmodarya tap or eating lesser than his capacity. So in both the ways, your attachments are reduced, and this ahar dan is performed with a lot of joy, with a lot of pleasure. The Shravak feels that he is the luckiest person on this whole planet when he gives nirdosh ahar to a Muniraj. So this kind of bhavna should be there. Like we don't have Muni around us, but we should have this bhavna that, तीन लोक में जहां भी मुनि है पूरे 2.5 द्वीप में, may all these Muniraj get ahar without any, dosh, without any upsarg. So this bhavna, all the Shravaks usually have. And why do they have? Because they are going to be in that position very soon. They want to just quit everything. They want to renounce everything and reach there. So these bhavnas they have. Priyanka ji, please read.
Trainees vow, Shiksha Vrat. By engrossing in one's self and by stabilizing one's thoughts, one practices meditation with equanimity daily. This is known as the equanimity vow, Samayik Shiksha Vrat. Every 8th and 14th day of the lunar month, 15-day cycle, one gives up his passions and business activities. Instead, he fasts and meditates in a solitary place like an ascetic. This is known as the ascetic hood exposure vow, Poshadupvas Shikshavrat. One restricts desires for certain pleasure objects, either for life or for a definite period of time, is known as sensual enjoyment limitation vow, Bhog Pariman Vrat. One who vows to eat only after offering it to worthy souls, such as ascetics, is known as a selfless offering to the unexpected guest vow, Atithi Samvibhag Vrat.
So these are the 12 vows of a Shravak. As much as possible, we should have the bhavna that, my dispositions are also so pure that I avoid these 5 kinds of sins in my life. I also, reduce my passions and walk on this noble path, which is of Samyak Charitra. It is always advised, matlab, ye vrat, they come only after one attains the right belief, and the 2 passions, Anantanubandhi and Apratyakhana Varan passions, are absent. But we should have the bhavna to follow this path, is what I'm trying to say. Now, Baraha Vrat ke Aticha means flaws. The dosh that arise in these vows are known as Atichar. So, Bara Vrat ke Atichar, pan na lagave. Pan means 5. So, each of these vows has 5 Atichar, or the flaws that might arise in them. They are mentioned in Tatvar Sutra. You can read from there. So they avoid all these flaws. So 12 into 5 is 60. So 60 Aticharo ka list hai Tatvar Sutra mein. You can just read that list. So they are avoiding these flaws. Maran samay sannyas dhari tasu dosh nasave. So at the time of death, when they realize that, now the time has come that this human body is going to just, this human pariah is coming to an end, they understand that. So they do Salekna Vrat, which means voluntary renunciation of all the passions, possessions, food, everything. So systematically they start reducing. First, they will donate all their possessions to the family members, or to the charities, everything. They will reduce their food intake, reduce their water intake. They will reduce the gamna gaman, or the traveling. Like already they have taken Deshrat Dekarat. Usme bhi they will reduce that. Now I will not leave my colony or town. Then they reduce contacts with people. They take proper brahmacharya vrat, so they don't talk to the other gender. So everything systematically, like it might go on for a couple of years as well, the entire process. So they systematically reduce everything and come to the point where they stop eating all the food and water, and they just are there all the time, engaged in stuti, bhakti, and then leave the body in full wakefulness without any kind of rona dhona. It's called as Mrityu Mahotsav. It's a celebration of such a Sayam life that towards the end, easily they give up everything and they embrace death like a warrior. The ignorant souls are crying all the time when the death comes. They are still bothering about carrying the possessions with them. They want to write the wills and all of those things. But those who are Shravaks, they take Salekna, they reduce all the passions, they reduce ahar. So it's not like you just stop eating equals to Salekna. Primary focus is to reduce the passions, to reduce the attachments. So systematically, they go on reducing the attachments and come to a point where, in the end, ahar and pani is also, renounced, and they are in that wakeful state where they renounce the body. And this Samadhi Maran or Pandit Maran, after that, what happens? Yo Shravak Vratpal Swarg Solam Upjave. The highest heaven in which a Shravak can take birth is the 16th heaven. So after following these 12 Vrat without any Atichar, and in the end taking Salekna Vrat, they die and go to the 16th heaven. Tahate Chai Nar Janma Pai, Muni Vaishyav Dhave. So from there, they again become a human, and now this time they will become Muni, because the earlier birth they had this bhavna of becoming a Muni, but due to some reason, because of the Kashai, they were not able to do that. So from there, from the 16th Swarg, they will come back, Nar Janma, become a Manushya, take Muni Diksha, and then Shiva Pave. They will get liberated. So the fruit of the Shravak Vrat is not Swarg. It is actually going to moksha, is what we are trying to say there. Swarg जाने के लिए व्रत नहीं होते हैं. It is for getting liberated. Okay. Shashikala ji. Shashikala ji, are you there?
I'm reading from that text, so I've forgotten.
Yeah.
The religious householder observes these 12 vows, avoiding 5 violations, atichara of each vow throughout his life. At the time of death, he also seeks for ritualized voluntary renunciation of the body, sallekana, avoiding its 5 violations. After death, this householder will take birth into the 16th abode of the celestial heavenly life. On completing that life, he will be reborn as human being and will accept ascetic food, leading to salvation. At the stage of right conduct, the pure dispositions, Shuddha Bhava, of the soul lead to the stoppage and shedding of karma. Whatever minor delusions are present are the reasons of him taking birth in the celestial heavenly life.
So the last line, what this means is that this vrat, whatever dharma or this path of Samyak Charitra that we follow is not for Punya Bandh. It is for Nirjara. But why we are getting the celestial birth? Because along with Nirjara, there are some auspicious dispositions in the position of the Shravak, which he is not able to completely eliminate. So वो जो शुभ भाव है, those auspicious dispositions. Here the word delusion is written. Actually, it is attachment. Whatever minor attachments are present in the Shravak's dispositions, those attachments are the reason for him taking birth as a Dev in the celestial life. Okay. I think there is it live streaming, because here they are writing preparing live stream. I'll just stop share on. Okay, meeting is streaming. So this ends the fourth Dhal, and we are at the fifth Dhala of Chhah. Yes, Priyanka ji.
So Vijay this we were talking about nearing death and the person takes vows. Now, if someone is just acutely ill, they were healthy throughout their life, all of a sudden they are ill, and they, of course, they have the more of staying with the family. They're not ready to pass away, and the family very much, as ignorant, is into attachment and all that stuff. Now, if the person who's ill has some vows like jameen ka nahi khaunga, yeah, things like that, but during the critical illness, there is a medical treatment that says like, okay, you're going to have medications or you're going to have food which will have components. So, and family insists ki le lo, because it's that period, like everybody wants to get well soon. So those
So family ko to pehle stop the ignorance of the family. Like one very good line sir always used to tell in the class, that as a child, as a santan, your duty is ki maa baap ki samadhi ho. Like your parents can do this kind of samadhi. Okay, they don't have to break their vows because of you. And as parents, your duty is ki bachcho ko sanskar ho. They understand what is the Jain way of life. So in your life, you make your parents and your children understand what is the right path. Because अभी ये जमीकंद खाने से ना निमित नैमितिक रिलेशन, उसके खाने से nobody is going to get well, right? शरीर के परमाणु अलग, there is अन्योन्या भाव between the food, the medicine and the body. So एक एक करने से दूसरा, you are just spoiling your dharma marg and getting into sins, and these karma are going to come back to you. So thinking about this, just see if it is worth doing any of these things. Like don't even go for medicines which are made by non-veg means and fish oil and all of that. We should not do that,
no,
because
no,
usse kuch hoga nahi. So I'm just explaining
no,
to you,
no,
people
not
go
that.
to any lengths for maintaining the body without even understanding whether it is actually worth or not. First thing comes ahimsa dharam. So think about it. Now everybody has their own different levels of following things, but the more you study and understand, I think you will take better decisions. That's the thing.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So now in the fifth dhal, these are bara bhavna, or the 12 contemplations. We have already done bara bhavna. We have, right? You all remember? Anitya, Asharan, Sansar, Ekatva, Nyatva, Suchi, Ashrav, Samvar, Nijara, Lok, Bodhi Durlabh, and Dharma Bhavna. So these 12 contemplations are known as the mothers of Vairagya or renunciation. Thinking about these 12 aspects or these 12 facts again and again, repeatedly concentrating on them, thinking about them reduces our passions, reduces our attachments, and gives us the right knowledge about the functioning of the universe, about the natural order of things. It reduces your more towards the external substances. So the Jnani Jeev or the enlightened ones again and again think about this whenever they have any upsarg, any situation which they see their passions rising. Again, they go back to the Bara Bhavana. If you all have been to any Panch Kalyanak, on the day of Tap Kalyanak, when the prince or the Raja renounces the kingdom, the first thing they show is Bara Bhavana Bhana. They think about the 12 contemplations and understand how meaningless it is to be involved in the sansar. Everything is so transient, not shelter worthy, as opposed to my soul, which is eternal, shelter worthy, and the source of pure bliss. So, thinking about these 12 contemplations, their vairagya or the power of detachment is increased and they are able to follow their vows. So, these 12 contemplations are like, whenever you are faltering somewhere again and again, thinking about them is quite helpful. And this chintan is jnanatmak, or it is a contemplation. It is not meditation. Okay, so don't confuse it that you're meditating on that. We think about it again and again, and then make the right decision about what is hey and upade, and what is swa and par, what is hit ahit. These kind of things are clear when we think about the bara bhavna. I will not be going in a lot of detail here. We will just do the meanings. The deeper connotations will be covered in your paper 3, which has one entire book of Bara Bhavana, which has a cross comparison of Bara Bhavana written by several authors. Of course, there is Dhala also inside it. So in that, sir will cover in much great detail. I will just do whatever is given here and not go into much depth in this. So first thing, Muni Sakal Vrati Bad Bhagi. Now Shravak ho gaya. Now we are inching towards Muniraj's Dasha, the internal state of Muniraj. So Muni kaise hote hain? What is the Muni? They are Sakal Vrati. We saw Deshvrat. Now they are Sakal Vrati, means they have completely renounced all the sins. They have completely renounced all the positions. So Sakal is complete. Vrat are vows. So their vows are complete. Mahavrat. Bad bhagi means extremely fortunate, very, very lucky. Why are they lucky? They are lucky because we are still caught up in this worldly entanglements and the attachments towards all the external things, whereas they have understood the real nature of the universe. They have understood their pure soul as the most important entity and have readily renounced everything. So they have that samyak gyan, that vision, and that is why they are badbhagi. They are quite fortunate, even amidst, jungle ma vag singh sanyog ho. Even if the lions and tigers are eating each other, Gaj Sukumar Muni, Shur Swasamvedan, or the infinite bliss. Is my voice audible?
Little break was there and now it's fine.
Okay. So they are experiencing that inner bliss every moment, irrespective of what goes on externally. And that is why they are Badbhagi, very fortunate. And that is the position that all the sadhaks should aspire to get. Okay. Bhav Bhogan Te Vairagi. So Bhog are the pleasures of the five senses. So all these pleasures in this bhav, in this world, they are detached from that. Vairagi is detached. So they are most fortunate because they are quite detached from the sansar, from the bhog, from all the rag dvesh. They have realized what is truly worth manifesting and what is truly worth living. Okay. Vairagya upavan mahi chintve anupreksha bhai. So in order to foster detachment, in order to increase the detachment, they continuously, chintave means think about, anupreksha is the 12th bhavna, bar bhavna. Okay, right. So in order to foster the detachment of the soul from the external things, they continuously think about the 12 contemplations. So just like a mother gives birth to a son, in the same way, these 12 contemplations or bara bhavna give rise to detachment. Detachment rises when you keep on thinking about, Anitya Bhavana, how everything is so transient in the world. I mean, it is not worth getting attached to anything externally because everything is going to go away one day. So these kind of contemplations, you realize that nothing is really worth getting attached to, whereas my own pure nature is always permanent. It is always steadfast. It is there with me all the time and it is worth getting attached to. So these kind of thoughts of Vairagya arise when you think about these Vara Bhavana or the 12 contemplations. Jinali ji.
The true passionless naked Jain ascetic with right faith, knowledge, and conduct, Bhava Lingi Muni, are practicing the 5 great vows. They have embarked on a journey of considerable personal effort. They are detached from the sensual pleasures of the world. These ascetics are the true practitioners of the 12 contemplations. As a mother gives birth to a child, these 12 contemplations give birth to renunciation. Therefore, these ascetics concentrate on these 12 contemplations.
So the 12 contemplations are there for every enlightened soul, even 4th Gunasthan or 5th Gunasthan Varti Jeev also thinks about these 12 contemplations. But in Muni Diksha, this is, more prominent. That is why, with regards to 12 contemplations, always Muniraj is mentioned. Same with Daslakshan Dharma. The others also have, but the prominence of these attributes are there more in the Muni Dasha. That is why we are describing them with respect to Muniraj. Now, the fruit. Why we are doing this? Im chintat samras jage, jimi jwalan pavan ke lage. So, you all must have seen in villages, the women, in order to, increase the fire, they have that poo karke, they are blowing air into the fire to increase it in the olden times. So, when the wind blows to the fire, because of the increased oxygen, the fire flares up. In the same way, when one thinks about these 12 contemplations, the samras or the samta bhav, equanimity, the rag dvesh go away and the samta bhav emerges. Okay. Ima chintat samras jage. So thinking about these contemplations increases my samta bhav or equanimity and the bliss associated with that. In the same way, jwalan pavan ke lage. Okay. So the way fire flares up in the presence of air, these contemplations increase the samta bhav. Now, next line says, Jab hi jiya atam jane, tab hi jiya shiv sukha thane. The soul, only when the soul knows its own true self, its pure nature, and gets engrossed in it, tab hi jiya shiv sukh thane. That is the only time it attains true bliss. Besides that, nothing, no other endeavor of the world can ever satisfy the soul, can ever give any bliss to the soul. Because where the bliss doesn't exist, if you are trying to obtain bliss from there, how will you get it? So very good example comes is that रेत को पीसने से तेल निकलता है. So when you crush sand, you cannot extract oil. But if you crush the sesame seeds, you can extract oil. Now, why so? Because sesame seeds have oil within them. Sand does not have oil inside, so extraction of oil from sand is not possible. In the same way, the external alien substances lack the attribute of your bliss. So, no matter how hard you try, 5 लाख के नेटवर्थ से या 50 लाख के नेटवर्थ से, you are not going to get bliss. Why? Because money does not have the attribute of bliss. Okay. On the contrary, this soul, it has the attribute of bliss. So if you will go there, sesame seed में से oil निकालोगे तो निकलेगा. So this soul has the attribute of bliss. If you will endeavor to proceed in that direction, you will certainly attain it with guarantee. Okay. Chaitanya Prakash ji, can you read? Aditi.
As fire flares up, can you hear me?
Yeah.
As fire flares up with wind, the inner bliss of equanimity arises by meditating on the 12 contemplations time and again. When the living being knows the real nature of the soul, he gives up his interest in alien substances. He is now engrossed within the self and enjoys bliss and tranquility, ultimately attaining salvation.
Okay, so when you engross in the self, that is the only time you will be able to enjoy true bliss. Now, from here, we are starting with Vara Bhavna. The first Bhavna is Anitya Bhavna. Anitya means what? Transience. Everything is transient in your external world. Okay, so Jovan, Dhan, Godhan, Nari. Jovan means youth, Dhan is wealth, Godhan is the wealth of cows, Nari is the women or your wife, Hai is horse, Gai is elephant, Jan Agyakari are your faithful servants or your family members that are obedient to you. So all of these favorable things, what are they? Indriya bhog. So they are, your sensual pleasures, the external associations. They are chinathai, means they are very short-lived. They are not permanent. Whatever comes into your life will definitely go. Anything that begins will always end. But whatever is eternal will always remain eternal. You are getting? Wherever there is a starting point of something, there will always be an ending point, beginning point and termination point. So either they will go before you or you will go before them, but you are not going to remain together forever. Okay, so when you understand, so this is the right knowledge, you don't need to feel sad about it because this is the fact of life, this is the fact of the universe. So when we understand that our family, wealth, possessions, everything is transient, they are there with us for a limited period of time, they are sanyog, and sanyog ka viyog hone hi wala hai. So if you prepare yourself beforehand that whatever has come is going to go, so your attachment is limited. And how you will be convinced? So Surdhanu chapla chaplai. Surdhanu is a rainbow. How long does a rainbow last? Okay, the rainbow is so transient. You just go on, try to click a picture, utne mein to chala jata hai. It just goes away. So like a rainbow or like the lightning. Now, can you capture lightning in the photo? The lightning is there, you try to capture it, it is gone. So it is so transient, it is just for a flash of a second. In the same way, all these sanyog or all these external things are there for a very short period of time. So our attachment towards these things is actually the cause of misery. When we realize that these are transient, it is their nature. By nature, these things are transient. And what is not transient, what is permanent, what is eternal, it is my own nature. Since eternity, it has remained constant, it has remained blissful, it has remained Gyanmai. I am full of infinite attributes of bliss, of knowledge, of perception, of infinite energy. And I don't need anything external to complete me or fulfill me. So this kind of samyak gyan regarding this anitya bhavna is a cause of bliss, is a cause of sukh. It reduces your anxiety. Correct? Am I right? Yeah? Okay. Aditi ji, continue.
Youth, house, domestic animals like cows and buffaloes, wealth, ornaments, spouse, horses, elephants, servants, and the objects of five senses are all short-lived, just like the transitory nature of a rainbow, or like lightning in the sky. This is the nature of transitory contemplation, anitya bhavna. All alien relationships and alien modes are transitory in nature. Anything created by association will result in dissociation in the future. For example, once born, death is inevitable. So it follows that rather than becoming miserable, one should face death boldly. Only the pure nature of the soul is permanent. The enlightened persons meditate on this contemplation repeatedly. thereby increasing his dispassionate state. One should not feel pleasure or pain in favorable or unfavorable surroundings. One should keep equanimity under any circumstances.
So usually you will see that, these Vara Bhavana in any Vairagya Prasang or during death, especially in, Mumukshu households, these are the 12 contemplations we usually recite. We don't indulge in any shok or things like that. But these things are repeatedly said so that, we are reducing our attachments. The next one is Asharan Bhavna. Asharan means what? You, during the time of death, nobody can save you. Nothing in this universe is Sharanbhut or shelter worthy. Okay, so in Char Mangal part, we are saying Arihanta Sharanam Pavajjami, Siddha Sharanam Pavajjami, Sahu Sharanam Pavajjami, Kevali Panatto Dhammo Sharanam Pavajjami. So Vyavhar say, or conventionally, we say only Arihant Siddh Sadhu and the dharma propagated by the Kevali Bhagwan is Sharanbhut, can actually give you shelter or can actually, give some kind of a refuge to this mundane soul. Nothing in the universe can give shelter. So for that, we say that during the time of death, even the Chakravarti, even the king of 6 regions cannot be protected by any kind of mantra, tantra, jap, or any doctor, anyone. And if you all have seen the story of Alexander the Great, he won half the continent and then he fell sick. Nobody could save him. He could not even see his mother. So at that time, he said, both my hands should be kept out of the coffin so that others realize that nothing I can take along with me. I am helpless. So this is what it means in Asharan Bhavana, where the entire world is not Sharan Bhut, my own pure nature is always Sharan Bhut. Shuddhatma hi Sharan hai. You might have heard that. So my soul is the ultimate shelter. Whenever I take shelter or refuge of my pure soul, I get engrossed in it. The fountain of bliss erupts from that. So that is the only shelter, and everything else in this whole universe is asharan or not shelter worthy. So understanding this with this samyak gyan, one must not have any kind of dependence on any external elements. So sur asur khagadhip jete. Sur Asur means the king of the heavens. Asur are the lower heavens ke king. Khagadip are the kings of Vidyadhar Raja. These are all very powerful people in this world. So even the Indra, Narendra, the kings of the Vidyadhars, whoever they are helpless in the face of death. Jo mrug hari kal dalete. Just like a deer in the jaws of a lion is quite helpless. Nobody can save him now. In the same way, when the death comes, even these Indra, Narendra, Chakravarti, all those powerful people, they are helpless. Nobody can save them. Mani mantra tantra bahu hoi. In that moment, you get the money, you do some mantra jap, mrutyunjay jap, you give them all those talisman and all the yagya, anything you do, you call the best doctors. Nothing is going to help them. Marte na bachave. Okay, so we must understand that when the death is going to come, everybody's ayushya is predetermined fixed. So taking any kind of abhakshya dava or any kind of medicines that are not, uh, in the Jain lifestyle is not going to help you. Rather, you quit all these medicines and take Salikhna. So if there is a choice, you should go for the previous one. Take Salikhna rather than going for treatments that are going to probably not be very useful and cause a lot of violence. Okay. Darshit ji.
Jai Jinendra.
Yeah, Jai Jinendra.
In this transmigratory world, the kings of heavenly angels, demons, and the birds, etc., are victims of the death as a deer for the lion. The thought, gem, chintamani, the holy mantra, and mystical devices, tantra, etc., cannot prevent the onslaught of death. This is the nature of the helplessness contemplation. Here one has to understand that one can only receive help from only his pure soul. No other substances of the world can help him. One substance cannot help any other substance of the universe. No one has the power to save someone else from any mundane dissociation. That is why one should not depend on help from any other substances of the universe. One's pure soul is eternal existence and therefore will not demise any time in the future. The enlightened soul concentrates on this contemplation and thereby increases his dispassionate state with this helplessness contemplation, Asharan Bhavana.
So Chintamani is a gem. I think I already explained in the first Dhal. Whenever you have any kind of in your chintan or in your thought, if you have any desire, having the Chintamani gem will produce that desire, much like the Kalpa Vruksha. So even if they have the Chintamani gem, if their death has come, the Ayu Karma has come to an end, nobody in the universe can even increase one samay of his lifespan. So when we understand this, we are, fearless in the face of death. I mean, if everybody has to die, then why should I be afraid of it? And if I understand that I am the eternal pure soul, then I am Ajar Amar Avinashi, right? Nobody can destroy me. Death cannot do anything to me. So this kind of Samyak Gyan is very important to keep your sentiments in check during the last moments of your life. So if your entire life you are going to keep on thinking about these things, towards the end you will be able to die bravely and peacefully. If you are going to be involved in all the worldly things, then your death is also going to be similar. So जीवन भर की साधना ही संलेखना में कारणभूत होती है. So the entire life has to be there with these kind of thoughts. Then only towards the end we can probably. Anyone is saying something? Please mute yourselves. Yeah. Okay. So the next one is Sansar Bhavna. Sansar Bhavna says that in the entire Sansar or the transmigratory cycle, the soul only endures misery, like we saw in the first Dhala. Nowhere it has attained bliss. And this cause of misery is its own mohragdvesh, its own delusional state, which has led to this, continuous cycles of rebirth. So the entire sansar is asar, or there is no sukh, no enjoyment, no bliss anywhere. And because of delusion, it keeps on suffering in the four gatis or the four states of existence. But the moment it sees what is sarbhut, which is its own self, this sansar comes to an end, is the crux of this sansar bhavna. So we'll see this Chahu Gati in the four gatis, four states of existence. Dukha Jeev Bhare Hai. It is suffering in all these four states of existence. These existences are filled with miseries, whether you become king, Indra, Devlok, everywhere. There is only misery. The misery is because of your wrong belief, wrong knowledge, and wrong conduct. Paravartan Panch Kare Hai. So Panch Paravartan are like Dravya, Kshetra, Kal, Bhav, and Bhav Paravartan. So these are actually described in scriptures like Bhumatsar, where we are saying that I cannot fully explain it because it is an entire book in itself, but the crux of it I'm going to tell you is that this soul continuously is absorbing Pudgal Vargana, like karmic matter or the Pudgal Parmanu, and there is not even a single Parmanu in the whole universe which the soul has not consumed infinite times. Okay, so you have been at that is the Pudgal Paravartan or the Dravya Paravartan. Kshetra means there is not even a single space point in this universe where you have not taken birth and died infinite times. So if you feel that, oh, I have not seen, USA, I have not seen Antarctica, I have not seen this place, you have actually taken birth and died there infinite times. So what Kshetra are you yearning to go? Kal, you have taken birth in all the Kals, infinite times, taken birth with different time spans in infinite time zones. You have taken birth in Bhog Bhumi, in Karma Bhumi, in the fourth Ara, in the sixth Ara, in Swarg Narak, every single place in this whole universe, you have taken birth and died infinite times. The story of your transmigration is so long that it cannot actually be said in words. Okay. तो ये सुनकर, after listening to this, your more of, going here, attaining swarg, getting better in the human birth should actually diminish, because everything has happened millions of times before. And still you are here enduring miseries of this transmigratory state. So this is a wake-up call for us, that where do you want to go now? Everywhere you have suffered miseries. You are only miserable in all these states, across all the times, across all the areas, regions of the universe. Nowhere you have been happy, right? Sab vidhi sansar asara. So from all the directions, from all these considerations, in every way, this sansar is asar. It does not have anything to be proud of. It does not have anything to hold you back, right? There is no meaning in living in this sansar, because there is only misery for the mundane soul. Jame dukh sukh nahi lagara. There is not even an iota of sukh in this sansar. There is not even a bit of sukh in the whole of sansar. And when you realize that sansar is full of dukh, then only you will do pursharth for the true sukh, which is in moksha. So there is one, good example I had heard about lagara. There is this kadai, the utensil in which we cook food after everyone has eaten. So wo jo juthan hoti hai, that used utensil, when you keep, out for washing. So earlier they did not have kitchens like us. They used to keep it out in the open, and the dogs used to come and lick that. Now that utensil is completely empty. It doesn't have anything. It just has that, residual things, but the dog is licking that with a lot of pleasure. In the same way, sansar mein sukh nahi hai. There is no sukh anywhere in the sansar, but like that dog, we are licking the, pleasures of the five senses. We are running behind them, where actually there is only an illusion of sukh. So like that poor dog, we are also the same category, ignorance, in our delusion and ignorance. We are trying to be happy with the sensory desires and pleasures, where actually there is no sukh. And when we realize that, our effort to get sukh from these external things, it stops, it ceases, and the true effort on the path of liberation starts, which is the main intention of this sansar bhav. Okay, Darshit ji, read.
Okay. Transmigration is the soul's impure mode. In this impure mode, the living being is ignorant in knowing the true nature of the soul. In this ignorant state, the living being constantly migrates in the four realms of existence in misery, for the five cycles of matter, space, time, incarnation, and phase. Panch Paravartan of Dravya, Kshetra, Kal, Bhav, and Bhava. In this state, he never has peace of mind and is unhappy. That is why transmigration is worthless. In mundane pleasures of the world, one imagines and perceives to be happy, but that perception is wrong because it is dependent on alien substances. Dependence on alien substances leads to perplexity. The dependence on one's pure nature of the soul produces serenity and is the real reason for happiness. So rather than seeking for happiness in alien substances, one should concentrate on his pure nature of the soul. With this type of concentration of transmigratory contemplation, one increases his dispassionate state. This is the nature of transmigratory contemplation, sansar bhavana.
Now, the fourth one is ekatva bhavna, solitariness contemplation. So usually in the world, people assume solitariness to be loneliness. How can I live alone? They don't like to be alone, but there is joy in the solitariness, because by nature, the soul is born alone, will die alone, and bears the fruit of his karma alone. Okay, so every soul is independent. There is no like, jointly saath aayenge, saath jiyenge, saath marenge, and saath janmo ka saath. And all of these things are just the stories of rag and attachment. Nothing of this is the real nature of the universe. Okay, so the soul is always alone in this transmigratory journey. We all are alone, we all are independently migrating due to some fruition of karma. Everybody gathers together, and then, like the birds that fly away in the morning in different directions, we all will go in our own direction. So this is every soul by nature is alone, and there is beauty in this solitariness. So there is one very good story about it. There was I don't remember, but the crux of it was that there was one man. He had a lot of disturbance in his Samayik because his wife used to, roll the chapatis wearing a lot of bangles. So these bangles used to make a lot of noise, and that was causing disturbance. So he used to get irritated. But so he went and saw what happened. So he went and saw what happened. The bangle was not causing any noise. This made him realize that ekatva mein sukh hai. The noise or the unhappiness or the ghongat is there because of the soul's association with external substances. When the soul is alone, it is absolutely blissful and happy. So this led him to the contemplation of ekatva bhavana, and he realized that there is joy in this solitariness. Okay. So
Actually, sorry, ma'am. Sorry for the interruption. It
yeah,
is not for that making chapati. He was very ill. He was very ill. So
ill.
the
Okay.
Chandan, that Raja story, I'll share it. It is in English.
Okay.
Chandan, they are rolling and putting on his
Ha.
head. So that all the Rani's bangles are making noise. Why this
Okay.
noise? Then they realized, and she made to wear only one bangle after removing all these things. Then realized after becoming well, he immediately took Diksha, ma'am.
Yeah.
I'll
So I
share that
don't
story.
exactly remember, but
No,
yeah,
I'll
please
share that
share.
story.
Yes,
It
yes.
is in Uttarayana Sutra. It is in
Okay.
Uttarayana Sutra. Maybe they'll say that is Shwetambat Granth, but it is Bhagwan Ka Vani. It is there. I'll share it. It is in English.
Yeah, so I will tell you in Digambar Granth it is chapati only, but I remember.
Uh-huh.
But so the crux, actually, the main message of the story is the same, that there is joy in ekatva. Okay. We feel that ekatva is lonely, but actually it is joyful. And all these bar bhavna are the source of joy. Okay. They are vairagya and sukh ki janni. They are leading to bliss. So one must not do the ulta contemplation. Oh, everything is transient. Sansar is asar. Everything is ashar. No, this is joyful contemplation, that everything in the sansar is asar, but my own soul is blissful, it is permanent, it is eternal, it is sharanbhut. It is a positive contemplation. So don't mistake it for, any dukh roop chintan. Okay, it's not artha dhyan roop, it is samyak gyan. Now, in this, Shubh Ashubh Karma Phal Jete Bhoge Jiya Ekahi Tete. So, whatever Shubh Karma or the auspicious bhav or the virtuous sentiments, Ashubh Karma or the Pap bhav, whatever karma phal or whatever karma they are binding, the soul is going to endure them alone. Now, if we feel that for our children we have to, do some sinful activities so that we can feed them, but the sin of those activities you are going to bear. They are not going to bear the sin on your behalf. So, thinking about it, we should be very mindful. So, bhoge jiya ek hi tete. Sut dara hoye na siri, sab swarat ke hai bhiri. Sut means son, dara means wife. Okay, hoye na siri means they cannot be your companions or sathidar in enduring your karma phal. If you are going to say earn living like all these fishermen, now they are killing the fishes for the entire family, but the karma they will have to endure. Their wife or children will not have to bear the fruit of the path that they are committing. Okay, so sab swarath ke hai bhiri is also like they are only there with you till their own needs are being fulfilled. It's, they are quite selfish. So you have to understand that, and you have to reduce your attachment towards your, the family and everything for whom you are doing all sorts of path. Read, Jinali ji. Okay, Rajeshri ji, read.
Okay. Should I read?
Yeah, read.
The living being has solitariness from his perspective and has absolute differentiation from alien substances. That is why he is the reason for his own good or bad deeds. He cannot do anything to anybody. He himself keeps on doing auspicious and inauspicious dispositions, and as a result endures the fruition in the form of perplexity. Nobody is his partner in this endurance. The wife, children, or any other family members or children or friends do not share endurance from his deeds. Expectation that someone can help him in the reason for distress. The alien things of the world are only the objects of the soul's knowledge. They have no other relationship to the soul. Therefore, they cannot share the soul's endurance. The ignorant living beings does not understand this principle and he wrongfully believes the alien substances to be his own and as a result ends up suffering. In the state of transmigration as well as in the state of liberation, the soul is in solitariness. The enlightened soul believes these facts and keeps his solitariness with the pure nature of the soul and further purifies himself. This is the nature of solitarinous contemplation, ekatva bhavna.
So far we did 4 bhavna, Anitya, Asharan, Sansar, and Ekatva. The others we will do in the class tomorrow. We have 5 minutes. Anybody wants to ask any questions? Please shoot.
Yeah, just I want to share that one you are told, no, the explanation. These contemplations of Joyce is one. No need to be there. It is a new one, new way of getting explanation for these forms.
Yeah, because in our ignorance, what we do is that we think it is dukh.
Yeah.
Nobody is going to support me. All the family members are selfish. So this contemplation, this line of thinking is dveshru. And bara bhavna are elements of samyak gyan. So we are understanding the true nature, vastu vyavastha, the natural order of the universe. Okay, these things are transient. It is their nature. When we accept it, we are, going to be blissful and joyous. So, for example, if somebody has died, accepting that that person is never going to come back is going to generate bliss. If you keep on expecting and hoping that no, tomorrow he will become alive, then that is only going to add your misery. So understanding the natural order and accepting it. So basically acceptance of how things are working in the universe, that is going to reduce your attachment towards everything. And when your attachments towards the external things are going to be reduced, you will truly find joy in yourself, which is the target which we are trying to achieve. Now, I got questions from one of you that how do we, remember things, because most of you, I think, are forgetting, are lost in the already taught things in the previous semesters. So I will totally advise you all that you need to memorize a few things. Remember the basic things. What are the Sat Tattva? What are the meanings? What are Chhah Dravya? What are the 4 gatis, 4 kashais, 5 pap? All these basic connotations, char anuyog, you must remember. This is something which, it's like when we were kids, we used to by heart the tables. How many times, how much effort did you do? 5 ones are 5, 5 twos are 10. Kitni baar likha? Like hundreds of times we wrote it. So till date, we remember that. In that way, we are learning the basics of Jainism, Jain philosophy. And if you are going to forget the basic words, you're not going to enjoy reading any higher shastras, because again and again you will have to go back to the basics because you don't know, don't remember, don't understand. So when we are doing Swadhyay, and by now through this Swadhyay of Dhala, you all have realized that if there is one thing which is worth giving yourself to is Swadhyay, is understanding these elements. So I hope that you all spend a bit more time. Only 2 hours a week is certainly not enough. You need to give at least another 4 hours revising concepts, studying these things, so that you enjoy the journey further. Otherwise, many of you might just give up by the next semester because it is going to, become more and more complex. We don't want to stay at this level, right? We want to move ahead in this journey. So for that, you all must work a little bit more hard. Another thing I wanted to mention is yesterday I have shared 3 questions in the group. They are the Viva questions. I want you all to think, contemplate, read Chhah Dhala a couple of times and give me your own unique thinking, your own, thoughts about it. Like, why do you think that sansar is asar? Or why do you think that gyan saman na an jagat mein sukh ko karan? Why is samyak gyan blissful? So all these things are going to encourage you to think deeply. So I'll just read out these three questions. What is the practical action plan to attain permanent bliss? What are you going to do now? Because Chhah Dhala is in real the essence of Jinvani. It has given you the path. Okay. The path of liberation is in front of your eyes. Now read it and understand and prepare an action plan for yourself. Kya karne wale ho? Like, what is it that you will do? The second is, why does the author say there is no happiness in sansar? You have to justify. Do you believe that there is no happiness in sansar? Right. If yes, then why? Like, justify it to yourself, not to me. I already believe. So you have to justify to yourself that there is no sukh in sansar. And this answer, you are going to paste it on your, wall and read it again and again when you are getting swayed. The next one is Gyan Samanna An Jagat Mein Sukh Ko Karan. You have to explain it why. Why is knowledge the most blissful thing in this whole universe? And why no other effort is important. So as you see, these all require some level of contemplation and understanding from your side. And I do hope that you all come up with good creative answers. By 15th of May, if possible, you voice record your answers and send it to me on private chat. And then on the same day, I will let all of you, after I receive all the entries, all of you can share it on the group so that you can listen to each other's answers. Anybody wants to say anything about this?
How many minutes would it be?
There is no limitation of minutes. आपको जितना बोलना है. Yeah,
Okay.
whatever you think. So all these answers, they are not anywhere directly from the book. It requires some thinking, some, mehnat from your side. And I would love to see that. Anyone
Okay.
else?
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, can we end the class today? We'll meet tomorrow, same time, 8:45 to 10 p.m. And I will try to complete the 5th Dhala tomorrow. Okay. निज निधि निज में बताई यह अनंत उपकार है, इसके लिए जिनवाणी माँ को वंदना शत बार है। जावाणी के ज्ञान से सूझे लो कालो, सो वाणी मस्तक नमो सदा देत हूँ रो। बोलो जिनवाणी मात की जय हो। नौबार नमोकार।